Are you as dumb as me? Probably not, because I'm the most smartest. That's why I decided, not them, me, to use Anchor.fm for our podcast. It's been the most easiest way for us to do our thing.
You vid.
Also, it's free, and we've established that I'm broke, right? Oh, no? Well, I am. And I bet you are too if you're thinking about starting a podcast. I bet you're so broke that you don't even have a custom-built home studio.
With your broke ass.
Doesn't matter, because Anchor FM works right off your phone or your computer. That's right. I know what you're thinking. Crazy Uber Ramblings podcast that you've been mulling around in your head for a little while now. It's possible.
Hey, guys, so where are we going today, guys?
Hey, can we go to that place, Pulaski, Tennessee, where the birthplace of,
No. Could you please exit my vehicle, sir? Thank you.
And something amazing like that will be immediately put out everywhere. Not only the biggies, but places you don't even know exist. Breaker, Overcast, Radio Public. What even are
fuck
those?
is that?
I don't know. Now, let's talk money. I knew that'd get your attention. You can make money with no minimum listenership, right? So let's think about Uncle Jimmy Ray.
I love it.
He loves it so much that Crazy Uber Ramblings, he starts paying a monthly subscription, and companies start paying you to talk about their shit. Now you're rolling in it. So are you the smartest and want to use a site that has all you need in one place? Then you should use Anchor.fm. That's ANCHOR.FM. Come on, dummy. Do it.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Friends, Facts, and Fiction. As always, this episode is made possible by our local convenience stores, the misappropriation of history, and you. And now to your hosts, Justin Hammonds, Grant Bramlett, and Drew Shellnut.
What up? What's happening, world? This is Friends, Faction, and Fiction podcast, episode 12.2, Blackout series continued. I'm Justin Hammonds, looking at Drew Shellnut.
What up?
And Grant Bramlett.
Hey.
And we still track shoot shorties out here. And we still got the homie Kevin Wurm with us.
Hola.
Photos by Wurm. Check my boy out. You want to give any of your tags out, like your Instagrams and all that?
Nah,
You know,
man,
plug
I don't
anything?
really, I don't really have any tags. Photos by Wurm.
I got you. Photos by Wurm.
Photos by Wurm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
photos
Kevin
by
Wurm.
Yeah.
And that's W-U-R-M.
W-U-R-M.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Man. The homie's out here active, as we heard on the prior episode. It's the homie, illustrious guest. But we're going to keep it rocking, man. Giving these hot facts. I believe we left off right before Jim Crow on the last episode.
That's right.
So we can keep rocking straight into these hot facts.
So just to define it or put it into context, whatever you want to call it, Jim Crow laws were state and local laws that enforced racial segregation by white Southern Democrat-dominated legislatures to disenfranchise and remove political and economic gains made by Black Americans during Reconstruction. This fucking lasted until 1965,
Yeah.
by the way.
Think about, anybody born in 1965?
I know a lot of
Any
people
ton of
born
Anybody born in
before
1960? You know what I'm saying? 1950 even?
Yeah.
Think about that, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Think about their mental issues
right.
and fucking how they see the world right now. You know what I mean?
Not to
It's
make
crazy.
this political, but let's make America great again.
My guy.
Well, we're going to have to after
We
all
should.
this last 3 years of bullshit.
I'm pretty sure that's already happening, right?
Yeah.
If we're talking about Jim Crow,
Right.
they are making America, quote unquote, great again. If you think about it.
That's their version of it.
Yeah, exactly. This shit started in the 1870s, right? In a very whitewashed, sanitized way. These now instituted as laws. All these practices were extra legal, right?
Yeah.
Until the massively famous Plessy versus Ferguson case that upheld these practices in 1896, right?
Yeah.
The whole separate but equal
Bullshit.
bullshit.
Yeah, definitely. Man, it's wild. Like I know the Plessy versus Ferguson thing, but anytime I hear Ferguson, I just think about St. Louis, bro. Every time.
Sure.
Every time now. You know what I mean? Like, anyway.
So this legal principle of separate but equal, racial segregation was extended to public facilities and transportation, including the coaches of interstate trains and buses, where white and black Bibles were established in court. Like if you're swearing on a Bible
You can't
in
touch
court,
the same Bible, bro.
they had a white Bible and a fucking black Bible. Like, we all know about the water fountains. But that's fucking insane to me
Right.
to think about the fact.
Dog, separate but equal.
Right.
Equal my ass.
Well, if I mean,
Makes no
and
fucking
you know,
sense.
I mean, this is maybe me speaking out of terms because I'm not a Black American. But if I was a Black American, I wouldn't be putting my hand on a fucking Bible anyway.
Hot take.
Yep. Hashtag
Super hot.
hashtag future oppression. But we gonna slide up out of there.
Yeah, slide up out of there. Yeah.
So during this time period, black Americans were supposed to step off the sidewalk for white Americans, never look a white person in the eyes, and God forbid a black American look anywhere near a white woman.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that
Do not seek the treasure.
consistently was a major issue, right? If a black man ever looked at a white woman, some bad shit.
But
would
then they
happen.
kind of sideways glorify it in all the tales they tell. You know what I'm saying? Like
I think that was reinforcement of that idea, you know?
fucking King Kong, fucking
Right.
Breath of Nation, like literally.
Yeah.
The white woman is the
Is the thing.
You're right.
You know what I mean? Like it's
He's the object
it's
of
weird. It's
desire.
weird. Yeah, it's weird, man.
And
it's
also
a
like
psychological
the-
battle,
the-
psychological war.
The damsel in distress, right?
Yeah.
And then the villain is the black person,
Yeah.
you know, pursuing her
Yeah.
in such a horrible way,
It's
right?
fucking weird, man.
makes me look at King Kong a different way.
Yeah, you think about that?
What are they trying to say?
Exactly, bro. Exactly. Go and get this beast from a foreign land and bring him to the States, and
To
all he wants is
entertain
this
us?
white woman.
Right. And all he wants is a white woman.
See that shit?
That's back into
wild.
that BBC.
Tell you what, and not the British Broadcasting Company. Anyway, anyway,
You slide up on out of that.
yeah, slide up out of there.
Yeah, we gonna slide out
One
of
more
there.
time, one more time.
All right.
The unfortunate thing is that like the facilities that were established for black Americans were consistently inferior and underfunded. Always.
Oh
right?
yeah.
You know, I mean,
Still.
yeah,
right.
And still, and sometimes
you
there were
basically
no.
take the best of it, give them the worst of it. We're
Right.
separate, but we're equal, right?
Right.
You know what I mean?
But other times there were no facilities for them, right? As a body of law, Jim Crow institutionalized economic, educational, and social disadvantages for African, or as I like to say, black Americans living in the South.
Yes.
You know?
to,
Because,
to this day, like the homie Wurm said, to this day, bro,
yeah.
it's still happening.
And a way to enforce these that are now laws during this time period, lynching was the preferred way to establish that
Make
fear
a point,
and
essentially.
to make a point. Yeah, exactly.
It was
yeah.
up to like 3 a week, wasn't it? Like
Yeah.
3 or 4 a week
It-
on
but
average. That's just the average,
At minimum.
and that's what was recorded.
That's just the beginning, though. 3 a week, right?
It's fucking crazy.
They would publish these lynchings in local papers, right? And
That was the main attraction, bro.
Yeah. You would put on your Sunday's best
Yeah.
to go see a black man hang from a tree.
Exactly.
No, seriously,
straight
though.
up. Like straight
Seriously.
up. But they would take souvenirs. Like they would try to take a piece of clothing from this black dude.
They would fucking take bones.
Yeah, but all type of
Yeah.
shit, bro.
flesh.
They would have picnic baskets with them.
That's where
to
the
go
word
see-
picnic
yeah.
came from.
Yeah, exactly.
Pick a nigga.
Pick a nigga.
yeah. No,
Boom.
seriously.
Wow.
It's real. Real life.
Wow.
Treated us like fruit, but
Yeah.
would step on us like trash.
It's fucking crazy, bro.
That's true.
It's real.
And that's fucking hard to swallow.
Yeah.
It's horrible. So, I mean, let's keep in mind that these human beings that were being lynched aren't only men,
Yes, women, children.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It wasn't always a rope over the limb of a tree, right? And a good instance of that is that in 1892 in Memphis, a prominent Black American business owner, Thomas Moss, threatened a nearby white competitor.
See, the verbiage there, threatened.
I was thinking the same thing.
It's like, damn,
That could
he's
be
just trying to make a way.
Right.
He's trying to make a way too.
Right.
Like, damn. Like, but anyway.
Yeah, but it's cause you black, you threatening.
Yeah, right? That's literally what they're
Watch out now, hell.
That bleeds into today as well.
No, straight up.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
If you're successful at the same thing, you're threatening. But like, no, bro.
Right.
Let's collab. How about that?
Right.
Like, fuck,
It's one of those,
it's crazy, bro.
change. What change? What you talking about?
Yeah.
Situations.
It's fucking wild. But anyway, he threatened a white
Yeah,
competitor.
and this happened to a point where a white mob ended up attacking his business.
That's
Right?
crazy.
So Moss and his partners took up arms to defend themselves. And that is something that I do want to really bring to attention in the sense that everything we've been talking about, most of the last episode, right, is white people showing up with weapons, right, guns and whatever. 9 out of 10 times, these Black Americans, whenever they take up arms, whenever they pick up a weapon, they're just trying to defend themselves. There's not the
Hold their ground. Stand their ground, bro. Like,
situation of trying to destroy the country or overtake anything or whatever. It's literally just a situation of I need to protect myself, my business, my property,
Yeah,
my
mine.
family.
Right.
You
But
know?
it's a rock between a hard place because if we have the need to pick up a weapon, once we pick up that weapon, now we have given every right to be fired upon.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Because now
yeah.
we're threatening.
Now you're violent.
Now
you're
we have a gun. You
But
see what I'm saying?
they-
No matter what the situation was, the story in the paper is he had a
Armed
gun.
black man.
Armed.
Armed black man.
Black man.
Armed thug.
No, not to mention that Moss's competitor was threatened.
right.
That Moss had a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Boom.
You know what I'm
That's the whole
saying?
point. And the sad thing is that if we can maybe think like in 1892 in Memphis, okay, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But the problem is that is still the story
2020.
today in 2020.
Exactly, bro.
You know,
Straight up. It's wild.
they ended up losing, right? And they were all taken to jail. A lynch mob took them from jail, drugged them from their cells, and laid Thomas Moss on a rail line.
See, this shit's so crazy. So a lynch mob just goes up into the jail, snatch these motherfuckers out their cell. Well, they probably just like, yeah, come on in. Here's the key.
I'm sure they let them.
Probably.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking
Let me
about-
step back on that. Never mind.
You say that. I'm
Yeah.
like, where's the key in this whole situation?
Exactly. I'm like, they just go snatch dude out. I was like, oh, they probably just let him
Yeah,
in.
you're talking about
sure.
a
Yeah.
lawful, lawless society
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
Exactly.
These are
Wild
people they
West, Wild
deputized
South.
to kill black people. So,
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
And asked him if he had anything to say. And he said, "Tell my people to go west. There's nothing for them here."
Facts.
I feel like that now.
And afterwards, they shot him in every way that any white person was shot
That night.
during that skirmish.
That's crazy.
During that fight. In the eye, in the head, in the chest 3 times, several other
It's so
ways. I mean,
ridiculous,
just you're at this point just literally beating a dead horse.
Like
I mean,
the way
you're
they
not-
see it is like ceremonial to like pay respect that way. It's just so fucking twisted. And it's just wild, bro.
It's that eye for an eye shit,
Disturbing.
too.
Yeah, it's
Literally.
disturbing.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very disturbing.
It's like Gandhi that said,
Oh, God,
eye for an eye
The whole world goes blind. Yeah.
leaves the whole world blind.
Yeah.
Facts.
A
is big
friend of
facts.
his, though.
Gandhi was cool, but he was racist.
I was going to say, I didn't want to fact check myself, but I
Yeah.
feel like that motherfucker was racist.
Yeah, he was for
Yeah.
sure. He was nice old namaste motherfucker, but he was racist as hell.
He was,
But,
yeah.
Now I'm going to
anyway,
stay away from that food.
And you can go fact check that yourself. Anyway,
Stay away from the food.
Yeah, stay away from the food.
Indian food's fire, baby.
Yeah.
They
Well,
crazy.
All you want
you
to
know,
eat your
honestly,
naan
on
bread.
a side note, that may
Just
have
like your women.
That may have that may have been a reason why Gandhi stopped eating, because he was tired of the Ring of Fire.
You're talking about the
Too much-
aftermath of
that's
the
right.
spicy chicken curry.
Too much.
He's talking about that porcelain throne.
Too much of that lamb vindaloo got up in there.
There you go. There you go. That's
Spicy level 8.
straight up. Straight up.
I'm gonna need some more naan.
All that.
Anyway, I'll shut up.
So a friend of Moss's was a woman named Ida B. Wells.
A very
So we
prominent
should
civil
all
rights
know
journalist.
Who that is. She was a writer for the Memphis Free Speech and took his last words and ran with it and published a whole bunch of shit, actually, talking about
She
the
wanted to give a
atrocities.
voice. Like this is like the first like civil rights journalist like movement happening here.
Kinda, yeah.
She's getting a voice to the. She's putting the surrealness to it. Like this is really happening.
Right.
This shit is like real life. It's not some hearsay on the street. This is real life.
Yeah.
She's
Wake the fuck up
documenting
and
it.
listen.
She's documenting
Yeah.
it. And the South hates that shit. The South hates when you talk the truth about the South. Bro.
Right. And
You know what I'm saying? Like,
to the point in which they burned her offices and printing press to the ground,
that's crazy.
kicked her out of Memphis, and said if she ever came back, they would kill her. They would lynch her if she ever came back.
That's crazy.
So, that's just one story of this massive amount of violence and persecution against Black Americans. So, a lot of them did flee to the North and the Midwest, right?
Of course.
And in the few instances where they were able to actually live and flourish, that happened. It changed the economic and political and cultural aspect of America.
It was
It's the
like
Great Migration.
It was a boom. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
That was the
the
Great
second
Migration.
the second passage.
Yeah.
Feel me?
It was.
And, to quote one of the OGs, Langston Hughes, if you don't know about Langston, please check him out. Harlem Renaissance is a major step in Black people being very prominent in culture. Langston Hughes is one of those leaders. And I want to quote him real quick because this is literally what we're talking about. It's like, Langston Hughes says, I tire so of hearing people say, let things take their course. Tomorrow is another day. I do not need my freedom when I'm dead. I cannot live on tomorrow's bread.
Ooh.
So they literally took themselves and was like, I can't wait for tomorrow. I got to go now. Like it's over. I got to go now.
Yeah.
And he grasps that idea with that quote so well. But that's just one of many of Langston Hughes's poems and quotes that you can look
The
up.
first rapper.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's OG, bro. He's OG for sure. And he had that nice little, that laid to the side.
He did.
With the waves,
That you
bro.
rocked for a while.
Ooh, that boy,
Yeah,
yeah.
you rocked
little
that for a while,
Little part on
yeah.
the side with the,
He was the first Drake.
Yeah. Boom. I think we mentioned Drake on like every episode. Holy shit.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
But yeah, man, Langston Hughes and Frederick Douglass did actually influence my hairstyle that I had like 5 years ago.
Oh,
But anyway, but yeah, man, and it's known as the Great Migration, and some may say the second passage. The first middle passage. Some might say again because when they were leaving and going these places, they're in danger town, bro. Like you're migrating, but you don't know if it's safe.
Sure.
But you're going. You got to leave this shit.
Have to
you know
do
what I'm saying?
something,
Like
you
straight
know?
up.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Well, ironically, this would hurt the livelihood of a lot of Southerners. Like who's gonna keep the land tilled?
what can I
Who's
do?
gonna make the food? Who's gonna keep up the infrastructure? Kind of a deal. On top of it, many Black leaders were urging them to stay, which is kind of contradictory.
Well, it was a Booker T. Washington that was about the
Yes.
life, wasn't it? Yeah.
It definitely was.
Yeah. He was like under the aspect of like we can't run from the problem. We got to look it in the face and learn a craft and get our shit together here so we can like do.
Yeah, we got to
Also-
find a way towards cooperation.
Sure.
Yeah, basically.
kind
It's
of a
also
deal.
important to remember
Coexist.
that
Yeah,
a
type shit.
third of the
Coexisting is
population,
impossible at that time.
a third of the population in the Deep South were Black. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So instead of everyone trying to like flee and disperse and all this kind of shit, like there's a really large community here. Let's unite and try our best to become successful in any way that we can.
I totally get his vision that he had, and he did something great with creating the fucking first black technical school in Tuskegee.
Yeah.
And we all know about Tuskegee fucking University. Shouts out to the homies. Derek Jackson went there. That's my boy, prominent author out here. Don't Forget Your Crown. His name is his book. He went to Tuskegee.
Right.
That's the homie. Anybody else went to Tuskegee? My little sister went to Tuskegee for a second. Shouts out to Taria.
There
I
you
see
go.
you. But yeah, like it was basically like teach technical skills, get advocational help. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's build infrastructure. And let's not forget George Washington Carver was out there in Tuskegee too, whipping that peanut butter.
You know, and you know
what I'm
to
saying?
me, like as a chef, it's always been kind of weird to me, like how these people came up with like George Washington Carver, especially like peanut butter. Like you just been mashing peanuts for a minute because I know. I've got a blender now, so I can just make peanut butter in minutes. Just put a bunch of peanuts in there and turn it on, a little bit of oil. Yeah. But he had to
like sit there and grind it.
Damn,
what's up? Bro,
damn,
he did so much with the peanut.
Oh yeah,
we're not gonna get in there.
No, yeah.
But he was also a part of the Tuskegee Institute.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, so like, that's the thing.
So after the Tuskegee Institute, you have the Negro Women's Club. Mm-hmm. It was a club apted towards like the movement of upward mobility with mostly, black churches and black entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they'd lend money to them.
Yeah. Essentially.
Black entrepreneur that's trying to do something. You know, they have nothing. They have an idea. They're trying to do something, right?
Oh, bro.
These clubs would help fund shit, right?
Yeah.
And churches as well, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, and then we're going to talk about Sarah Breedlove.
Yeah.
That's
Bay right there.
So she used one of these networks and became the first female self-made millionaire through a hair care company under the name Madam DJ Walker.
Madam CJ Walker.
Oh, CJ. Yeah.
CJ Walker.
Sorry.
CJ Walker.
Yeah, she's a straight gangster, bro.
She was, well, maybe that was like a subconscious thing. Like she was the first DJ.
Yeah.
She was just getting that shit rolling.
There's a very dope picture of her with this like cool ass like, of the time hat on. And she's in the driver's seat of this like 4-door vehicle back in those times. And she's just looking at the camera like, it's me.
This is mine.
Yeah, this is me. Yeah. You believe it, don't you?
You ain't never seen a nigga on a horse?
Yeah, exactly. a black woman driving a car that is a millionaire.
It was her car. She bought that car. The first female millionaire in America, black or white.
Yeah, black or white.
The first one.
Go girl.
Bro,
Right?
You go girl.
She was a washerwoman.
It's a perfect thing. Who doesn't think about hair care products? She commercialized that, like, basically.
Yeah.
She made it a fucking, like, manufacturer, basically. Like, fucking genius, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually watching, fucking out of all these documentaries I've watched out of the last 4 fucking months, I don't know which one it was, but
Brains fried out here.
it was, right. It was a black lady who ran a salon that was saying that she bases everything that she does off of Madam C.J. Walker's.
If it ain't broke,
books.
don't fix it.
She uses the exact same book. She has an original copy.
Bro, have you seen the hair from back in the day?
And still uses that. And that's what she teaches her, the people who are trying to come up and, be hairdressers and stuff. Like, this is her essential college.
Yeah.
Without going to college.
That's crazy.
Essentially. And it's still the exact same from when she birthed it, if you will.
I just, damn. I just had a really dark thought. Her original name was Sarah Breedlove, and I think that goes back to plantation days with breed houses.
It does.
Yes, it does.
But anyway,
Right.
get up out of
So that brings us to the point that since black Americans being forced into their separate community established a thriving and successful self-contained world in many instances, obviously. Very obviously.
of course.
You're going to thrive in what you're used to and what you're familiar with and away from oppression.
Well, the people that you trust.
Right.
Because you think about
Your
back
family.
then, the only people that you trust if you're black were black people.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, like straight up.
Right.
Like this is, bro. Woof.
Which is a way more sugar-coated, if you will, version of the way that the stupid, fucking racist piece of shit white people thought about the KKK. You know, I mean, because that was their thing. Because the KKK, like Ku Klux, is a Greek term mixed with clan, which was, like I said before in the last episode, Scottish. Ku Klux means full circle. Clan, which means like brothers in arms, essentially.
Yeah.
Which was just their redneck way of putting that together, I guess.
Shit's crazy.
Yeah. Yay. Yeah. Right. So obviously, there's a sinister counteractive measure developing here. A caricature of a savage beast, belittling black people to teach violence against them. It's not only okay but necessary at this point, apparently. You know, in order to teach the new generations.
Yeah, I mean, so you're talking about like newspaper, comics,
The minstrel shows.
Plates, any piece of merchandise.
They would have
that you would get,
like
right?
whole china sets in fucking little cabinets in white households with these blackface fucking caricatures on them, man. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm talking about? That horrible shit that's like so comical and like makes these black Americans at the time to be these like
these hideous monsters, bro.
It's a
Some of the
combination.
most beautiful people on the planet. The most beautiful people on the planet. But anyway,
It's a combination of like these, hideous monsters, but also like these little comical, cute, like, let me fix your thing. All that shit. You could buy that shit in the post office back then.
Yeah.
oh, bro.
I don't know how many people are going to hear this, but I had relations with a white female for a while.
We all have. That's okay. Everybody
too,
at this table,
actually,
at least.
But
I have as well.
we're brothers in arms then.
I tell you what.
Come full circle.
It's a full circle. Oh, my God.
It just came full circle.
Ooh, all
but
right.
anyways, man, her parents were, very anti me and her doing us.
Been there
And
a few times.
but she would claim that her parents were trying to accept.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I mean, you got to talk. You already know.
I know where you're going.
But one time I was washing my hands in their sink and I look up in their windowsill. In every Southern household, you got some shit in the windowsill above the kitchen sink. Of course.
Yeah, of course.
There's
The theme of the kitchen.
right. And there's like a Aunt Jemima and some like farmer blackface. Like they're not only is majority the skin color of those figures dark, but they have like these humongous lips.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big,
And I'm like-
big. Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up.
This
like,
is where
with,
it's at, bro. Embedded in their brain. Like,
I
this
grew
is
up
okay.
with like every time I
okay.
went to
fucking
family
wild.
events,
That's crazy.
where it was like getting together to do our family thing once a year or whatever. It was salt and pepper shakers.
Yep.
That's what it was. It was salt and pepper shakers that were all black painted with these huge fucking white lips and a red dress.
Yeah. I wonder if you can go to the thrift store. I know as a kid,
I know if you go to Tuscaloosa, Alabama,
Thrift
and go
store.
to a thrift store, you will find some of those
Yeah.
salt and pepper
You used to
shakers.
be
I've
able to-
seen them 2 years ago.
all the time here in Tennessee. I don't know now with the whole
Right.
this movement
Shit,
now.
you got to East Tennessee. I'm sure you can find that shit
Oh,
at
yeah.
Walmart.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Oh, shit. Like real talk.
I really hope that people are buying them and then smashing them in the parking lot.
Right. No,
Yeah.
fuck buying them because then it's
Yeah,
giving
right.
You
to
get money
people
and
who
just
made
go,
them.
just destroy it.
Just walk in there and smash them. Don't buy it.
Yeah, just go in there and just like smash them. You're missing a step. You add an unnecessary step.
Yeah, you know,
You're
Don't
right.
buy this shit.
You're right.
you know how Karens go in stores and just throw masks off the rack. Just
Yeah.
go in there and just start throwing just racist shit just across the store.
Right.
Good call.
What was that TV show? Like Supermarket?
Oh, Supermarket Dash or something like that.
So you just run in there
How
and
much
just
you
like
can
take
get?
all of those and just like.
Break them onto the ground.
I always wanted to be on that
sorry
show,
about
bro.
that.
Me too. I think I'd be really good at that show.
Yeah, bro, I'd be excellent at that
Oh, I would
shit.
be fire.
I would be good at
Bro.
the one
You could blindfold me and I'll come out of there with more than anybody.
at
Trust
the
Let's go, son.
working where I did the last year. going to Kroger like 3 or 4 times a day, at least the one on Gallatin.
Well, yeah,
I'd be able to do that with my eyes closed easy
Yeah.
and still get those points on my card. But anyway,
you know, sliding out of there. With,
we gonna slide on out of the Kroger. So on the flip side,
on the flip side of this,
Du Bois
yeah, my guy
put together an amazing photograph exhibit in Europe to display the dignity and excellence of Black Americans after slavery.
Yeah, because you got the juxtaposition is what you talked about, Wurm, but like the crazy characters, like these super dark, big lips, knotty hair. In this exhibit that Boys did, he had them like prominent, sitting by pianos, painting in great attire, like expensive suits,
Right.
The hair done properly. Fucking like we out here, but we run businesses,
And
we
this
own
isn't-
schools,
This isn't
we
a setup.
own musical
like he's
institutions.
going through and he's photographing,
He's photographing
real
dope people,
Black
like,
Americans living their actual
Bro,
lives.
These are probably people he might have went to college with.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, what I mean, he was one of the first to graduate from Harvard. Black dude, right?
he was the first.
He
First
was.
black dude from Harvard. Yeah,
Yeah, he
So,
got a doctorate.
Yeah, so I mean, like,
So
I'm just
like,
saying.
he wasn't just talking shit. He was a fucking doctor.
Yeah, and
you know?
to give that over to Europe to see black people being so prominent,
Right.
It changes the fucking echo that's coming across the pond at that point.
Yeah, no,
Like,
exactly.
Wait, hold
yeah.
on, what is this dumb shit? Like, I'm seeing this. Y'all got what is it?
Which is unfortunate because, like, for our country at least, because the rest of the world kind of jumped on. Well, other than South Africa, the rest of the world kind of jumped on that or saw that, and it was just like, oh fuck, like we've been fucking up,
No.
and kind of clarified that a little bit better, but not not us or anything, but talking about him, he established the Niagara movement, which is the basis for the civil rights movement in the 60s, and founded the NAACP.
That's right.
So,
Man, shouts out to my cousin Willie Flowers. He's the president of the Maryland chapter of NAACP.
Nice.
nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm full of surprises. But anyway,
But in 1915, a silent film was released called The Birth of a Nation. I'm sure you guys know what that is, and if you don't,
Well, we talked about that last
yeah,
episode.
we talked about it a little bit last episode.
it's fucked up. And also, I'm gonna say this: like the modern day Birth of a Nation is a movie about Nat Turner, which
Right.
he named that on purpose to basically flip that old shit on his head. And that actor kind of got canceled in the cancel culture situation that happened. But we'll side by there. But the I guess positive out of Birth of a Nation back in 1915 coming out was the homie William Monroe Trotter, who basically started the first like very civil rights like picketing type of vibe for this shitty ass film.
Yeah.
That was fucking the first movie aired at the White House. Anyway, he started this picketing system that protested it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And these type of protests in 1915 kind of flowed into the 50s, 60s. You know what I mean? Like, and the Ida B. Wells thing, like, it's all building up to our next episode. Anyway, go ahead though. My fault, man.
Well, in 1925, Harlem, everybody knows Harlem. It becomes the
Shouts out
Mecca.
Langston Hughes, bro.
Yep.
Exactly, yeah.
Harlem becomes the Mecca for Black Americans. Free in expression novelist and free expressionist novelist and a big musician boom, like a real true Renaissance.
Yeah, bro. All American culture came from Harlem Renaissance.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Bold statement, but I said it.
Well, most of American culture that we see today comes from the Harlem Renaissance.
Yeah.
And
American poetry, the first American music style.
oh yeah,
You know?
jazz.
All this shit, bro.
Yeah.
All this shit came from these black people that left bullshit, established themselves in society, found their community,
Right.
which was fucking so booming at the time. They fucked Harlem up in the fucking 70s, like real bad. Them Reaganomics is a motherfucker. But like at this time though, man, like Harlem was like a bubbling scene.
Yeah.
Nothing but intellectuals and artists and writers and just people that are ready to take their own, get their shit together.
I mean, white
Like,
people
straight
in
up.
New York would go party
Oh, yeah.
in Harlem
Oh, Cotton
in their
Club?
nightclubs. You know what I
Cotton
mean?
Club?
Yeah. And I mean, like, it was such a thing to where, like, they couldn't help but go see how fucking badass this all
If you
is.
want to
know
see
what I mean?
a great depiction that's really funny and it's just an awesome movie, just watch Harlem Nights.
Yeah.
And like picture that, but like way more intellectualism going on. Like they're not just nightclub owners and gangsters. They're literally like the leading writers of the country. Like they're the most articulate people, probably at that point in the world, because they're creating a whole fucking culture right there.
Yeah.
So, jazz basically starts in New Orleans, and a lot of the
The Zydeco shit.
with Zydeco and everything like that, and Black Americans that felt they needed to leave the South, they ended up in New York,
Yeah.
and they ended up in Harlem, obviously.
Yeah.
And so jazz was born, but was kind of perfected. there.
It was
Yeah.
born here and it was raised up there.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And by the time it came an adult, white folks tried to claim it.
Of course they did.
Yeah. I mean, it's also a very similar
Anyway.
thing to the blues, with like you have your Memphis blues,
Yeah.
and then you have your New York blues.
Sure.
There's
Although
a
them
very
Delta blues is different.
there's
I'll
a
tell you that.
yeah oh yeah there's a lot more. I mean, not to knock the northeastern blues, but that soul kind of left a little bit once it moved northeast. But and that's actually not a bad thing as much, because it's you start taking out that fuck life sucks.
When
And
you go up north? Or?
no. In the South, the Delta blues were like, fuck my life, this fucking sucks. Bow, now.
Yeah,
And then you move like northeastern.
In turn, back in those days, that kind of turned off into country.
Yeah.
And hillbilly rock, which black people invented as well, you motherfuckers.
Yeah,
right. So yeah, that whole country thing it was not yours originally anyway. But like that blues moved up here, and then that subsect of blues became that hillbilly black people playing banjos, so they couldn't afford real instruments and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, bro, I can talk about this shit for hours, bro. Like, we created everything that's cool, and they try to take everything.
Hot chicken.
Hot chicken, Princess, what's up?
You know,
Come on, man.
That's true. If
Barbecue.
you want some Nashville
any American
hot
food,
chicken,
period. By the way, because who you think was fucking cooking the shit when we first came over
that
here?
is very true.
well, yeah,
Come on, bro.
yeah.
Wings.
Like I said in
all
the
of it,
I think maybe the episode before last, African culture is American culture,
Yeah.
and if you
1,000%.
if you don't like that pill, then fuck off. And that's the way that I think about it. Like
It's like when you say go back to your country if you don't like it here. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, so you like immigration.
Yeah.
Then why are you tripping? If
Yeah.
people coming here if they don't like their
Right.
country.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Shit gets deep when you
Yeah.
think about it.
yeah.
Oh, foot and mouth syndrome. That fucking sucks. Nothing in there, Whitey.
It tastes good.
Yeah, get that.
Well, it's probably well. There's one thing that I will probably that I will say that black people didn't invent, that white people did, and that's foot play.
Is that
So we're gonna slide.
All right, we're
on
gonna
out of
slide.
Yeah.
That's weird. I'll
We're gonna
go-
slide up on that.
I'll push the button.
Foot play.
Oh my God, this guy. I'm glad we lighten up the mood because we're about to start talking
Yeah.
about a little town in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Okies from the
So,
Oh boy.
you know, Harlem got to have their renaissance, and that's absolutely wonderful.
It's great.
But this is happening all over the country, right? And
One of the
Tulsa-
most prominent places in America for success for black people was Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
They had so many businesses, the dollar would float around 26 times in their community before it left. They were building black greatness, minding their own damn business, not even fucking with white people at all, minding their own damn business in their own city.
yeah,
Whereas in white communities, the dollar bill only touched hands 5 times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in that time.
5, 6 maybe.
This is the beginning of what they didn't want to happen.
Right.
26 times.
26
Yeah.
times, bro.
26 times.
26
On average,
times.
26
You are
times a dollar
supporting
for a run.
your local business, and that's
And-
where supporting your local business actually fucking
Came
rose.
from. Yeah. And it what happened here and what happened there in Tulsa, bro, it was the crushing blow for any like black community to be comparable to, say, your Jewish community, your Indian community, your Asian community, your Caucasian community in America. And it was a crushing blow that we still have not came back from.
Yeah.
The black dollar bounces around 0 time in black community these days. 0, bro.
Yeah.
0. I think the Asian bounces around like 30 times or some crazy
It's
shit.
gotta be something.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like the Jewish dollar bounces around like 15, 20 times. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, like this Tulsa shit we about to get into. We're about to talk about Tulsa, by the way. So strap in. But it's like that killed it, bro. Because once that was done, then Harlem got fucking drugs 20 years later.
Yeah.
Fucking black greatness is fucking kind of shot down for a minute, bro. Like
Rug.
anyway.
Rug pulled out from under. Yeah.
Yeah, so all this Tulsa talk, we're referring to a solely Black American society called Greenwood, right? So of the 100,000 members of Tulsa, 10,000 of them were Black, and they established Greenwood, right? They had 2 newspapers, several churches, a library, and tons of businesses.
Several businesses.
I mean, well
the,
over
the
1,000.
Black Wall Street, they called it.
Yeah, exactly.
dubs.
Right.
Movie theater and
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some more shit.
kind of stuff.
Yeah, and like they were fucking crushing it. As Justin said, their dollar circulated 26 times.
26.
Think about that, bro. It's an incredible economy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So obviously the neighboring whites weren't too happy with this, and they tried several times to bring lynch mobs to subdue and scare them. Most of the time they failed.
They scared, bro.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
They lose like, oh, pick yourself up by your bootstraps. You got it. We gave you enough, right? You got it. Then we go out and do it. So now you scared? Now you mad?
Right.
Now, again? Damn, I thought this is what you wanted. You wanted us to be away from you, but equal, right? Like, anyway.
And so the
Before I
crazy
get pissed.
fucking thing is that this incredibly simple event, a black shoe shiner named Dick Rowland, apparently accidentally stepped on.
We're way too juvenile for you to just
Throw a big name out there like that.
we're way too juvenile for you to just say Dick Rowland.
I mean, Dick rolling
The
around.
Dick
everywhere.
Rowland, anyway. So Richard Rowland?
Yeah, so
Yeah, let's do that.
apparently Richard Rowland. Story is that he accidentally stepped on the foot of a white elevator operator named Sarah Page. She screamed within this crowded elevator filled with white people, other than Richard, and was arrested.
Man,
The next day.
See, old Dick, man, I've been like, too many white people in this elevator. I'm waiting for the next one.
Sure,
Literally,
would have
bro.
been the better.
That could have
move.
been a holy boy if he was just like, nah, there's too many white folks in here.
So here's kind of what we were talking about earlier. The next day, the Tulsa Tribune, right, their newspaper, reported that he attempted to rape her and was imprisoned for that.
Right.
In an elevator full of people, he tried to just snatch her up, huh?
Apparently so, right? And according to a lot of eyewitnesses at the time, they published a now lost editorial within that same newspaper about the incident entitled "To Lynch Negro Tonight." By early evening, there was once again another lynch mob talk on the streets of Tulsa. That talk soon turned to action. By 7:30 p.m., hundreds of whites had gathered outside the Tulsa County Courthouse, demanding that the authorities hand over Dick Rowland, but the sheriff refused. At about 9 p.m., after reports of the dire conditions, downtown reached Greenwood, a group of approximately 25 armed Black American men. Many of them were World War I veterans, by the way.
Fucked up.
They came to the courthouse to offer their services to the authorities to help protect him, right? The sheriff turned them down. and the men went back to Greenwood. Stunned and then enraged, members of the white mob then tried to break into the National Guard army, but were turned away by a handful of local guardsmen. At about 10 p.m., false rumor hit Greenwood that whites were storming the courthouse. This time, a second contingent of African-American men, perhaps 75 in number, they think, went back to the courthouse and offered their services to the authorities. Once again, they were turned down. As they were leaving, a white man tried to disarm a black veteran, and a shot was fired.
Hey guys, it's Drew Shellnut with Friends, Facts, and Fiction. I'm here with my two other co-hosts, Grant Bramlett and Justin Hammonds.
Hey.
We are here to inform you on our podcast platform, Anchor.fm. Number one, it's very easy to use because it's free. Also, if you're trying to create your own podcast, they have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor also will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, and many more. You can make money from your podcast as well with minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast, all in one place, Anchor.fm.
This is where the riot begins. Over the next 6 hours, Tulsa was plunged into chaos as angry whites, frustrated over the failing lynching, began to vent their rage at African Americans in general. Furious fighting erupted along the Frisco railroad tracks, where black defenders were able to hold off members of the white mob. An unarmed African American man was murdered inside of a downtown movie theater during this time, while carloads of armed whites began making drive-by shootings in black residential neighborhoods. By midnight, fires had been set along the edge of the black American commercial district of Greenwood. In some of the city's all-night cafes, whites began to organize for a dawn invasion of Greenwood.
I think it's funny that you bring up the drive-by thing, and how it's bastardized into like mostly a gang violence kind of a deal, and this, that, and the other, when it was actually started by douchebag racist white people just driving by and just loading bullets into people.
It's crazy, bro.
It's fucked up.
As well, I watched this documentary. I think you showed it to me, Drew. And there was a Tulsa survivor there who was like, he was in the documentary, and he was like 4 or 5 when the Tulsa shit happened.
Yeah.
And literally, like, you know, he can barely, really hold sentences right now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably, God rest his soul, he's probably passed away by now. But he just, the look in his eyes when he talked about it was like, you could just still see that pure trauma and fear in his eyes, bro. And he was like fucking 90 or some shit, bro. Like his granddaughter had talked for him for like most of it, bro.
Yeah.
And like just man, like
Live your whole life with that.
yeah, with that on your dome, like losing your probably whole family, bro. You know what I mean? To like just
So local authorities basically did nothing to try and quell this whole situation, right?
damn, bro, they burnt the whole goddamn city down.
After the outbreak of gunfire at the courthouse, Tulsa police officers deputized former members of the lynch mob and, according to an eyewitness, instructed them to, you're going to have to take this quote there, Justin.
Get a gun and get a nigga.
There's a hard R on that, by the way.
I was not wanting to say it.
I can't.
I don't want to, so I'm not saying the hard R.
Don't say that. So.
Local...
Yeah, I've never said the hard R, bro. That's just never. That's
Local
not in my
units
spirit.
of the National Guard were mobilized, but they spent most of the night protecting a white neighborhood from a feared but non-existent black counterattack. Shortly before dawn, thousands of armed whites had gathered along the fringes of Greenwood. When daybreak came, they poured into the African-American district, looting homes and businesses and setting them on fire. So they stole all their shit and then burned it down.
Huh? That sounds
Wow.
familiar to some shit that they say are savages and these thugs in the street looting and
Sounds very familiar.
I mean, within all this,
Whoa.
they killed a
2020.
renowned...
Wow,
They killed a renowned surgeon, a motherfucking surgeon, right?
I think these are like some of the most prominent black people in the world in this city, bro. Yeah, think about that.
But
as
this
well.
surgeon, he surrendered. These white people surrounded him. He surrendered, and they still shot and killed him.
God damn.
Yeah, man.
Dude, at least one machine gun was utilized by the invading whites. And some participants have claimed that airplanes were also used in this attack.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
They dropped some bombs from.
I mean, if
crop
anybody's
dusters,
seen
bro.
the HBO Watchmen or whatever, it starts with the Tulsa attack that we're all describing right now. I don't think it was that far off.
It's very wild because the way they start their series Watchmen on HBO. I hope we get sponsored one day. Anyway, the way they start the series out is like the first 3 minutes of the first episode, or no, like the first minute. It's like just this kid watching a little movie in a theater, and then what the fuck is like, bro? It's whoa. It's
I
crazy.
didn't actually know about this whole situation until I watched that HBO thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I didn't either.
Wow.
They never taught me that when I was a kid.
No, man.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
They say that this is the first time that bombs were dropped on American soil.
Yeah.
Was on Tulsa.
Yeah. By us.
By American
Quote unquote Americans.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the opposite of FUBU. It's by us for us.
Jesus Christ. Bufu.
Boo-foo.
God damn.
But yeah, they definitely had crop dusters dropping bombs.
Yeah.
But see, they don't want to document shit like you say, the now lost editorial that says lynch a nigga tonight earlier in the shit. Like now lost? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
How convenient.
Yeah, how convenient. That's
fucking
lost.
convenient,
Oh, how
right?
convenient. You don't really know the number of people that died. You don't really know the number of businesses that were destroyed.
Yeah.
That's cool. So you just going under the rug.
Right.
The South's okay. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
The members of Greenwood, they fought really hard to protect their homes and businesses. But they're outgunned and outnumbered, you know.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. And by that time, additional National Guard troops had arrived in Tulsa around 9:15 in the morning of June 1st. Most of Greenwood had already been burnt to the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, it was already on
The
fire.
whole
by
Black
that
Wall
point, you know?
Street was rubble.
Yeah.
And now, in present day, it's whitewashed as fuck.
Yep.
Anyway.
But before we anyway that,
Yeah.
you know, you know, you say whitewash and how these rioters and looters are would you coin them, or what did he coin them?
Thugs.
Thugs and
Gangsters,
any,
savages.
whatever adjective you want to put on
Exactly.
it. You know, being in Minneapolis and seeing the shit firsthand is
Exactly.
people would ask me, white and black, how do you feel about this? And you know, after listening to this and knowing about Tulsa, it's like burn this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Burn
Yeah.
it.
Burn it all down.
Burn it all.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah, let this shit burn.
Well, I
So-
mean, like I got into a conversation
vibe, man.
with someone a couple of days ago, and they were like, "Why can't we just give peace a chance?" And I said, "Peace had a chance.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Shit, Ben had a
Peace,
chance.
peace had a chance.
Peace had a chance until Martin Luther King got shot.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
That's when peace had a chance.
Peace
Peace was
had a
over
chance.
at that point.
I forget who
Because he was
said
the
it.
last one.
Yeah, I forget who said it, man. But damn, somebody, I think it was a Black Panther member, is really like, you know, white folks, y'all just killed y'all whole chance.
Because he was the last peaceful
that was
nigga.
the last peaceful nigga.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You
Right.
just killed your best friend.
Right.
You
Sure.
killed your best friend.
Absolutely.
He was the mediator between y'all.
Yep.
Right.
And now we looking at what we're looking at right now.
Yeah.
Either we gonna start shooting, or we gonna get some democracy.
Well,
What's
and
up?
that's
where it's
to
at.
me why Malcolm X's words ring true more so than
And it's
than-
wild because
than Martin Luther King
Martin Luther
Jr.'s.
King started to slide over to Malcolm X a little bit. Malcolm X started to slide over to Martin Luther King a little bit, and they were
Towards
trying to
the
meet in
end,
middle.
absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they don't talk about
I think that's why MLK got shot.
those last few years of MLK. They never really talk about because
Right.
he was starting to slide more into that, like, hey, this shit ain't working.
No, it's not working.
We need to like we can still
Tired
be
of getting
peaceful,
my
but
head
we
beat
about
in.
to-
They were
we about
interviewed.
to do
turn
something.
cheek.
They were interviewed at the exact same time towards the end, like we
Man,
said.
also, R.I.P. John Lewis. He did a
Oh,
shit
yeah.
ton here in Nashville
Absolutely.
alone.
oh, John Lewis is a
you know
boss.
what I mean? Love that cat.
Started.
That's
I
bro,
mean,
one
yeah.
of my favorite
I mean,
humans
but
ever.
like I said, towards the end, they were both, interviewed at the same time, and Martin Luther King Jr. would not come out and say that what Malcolm X was standing behind was exactly what he was wanting to do, and it was very obvious because Martin Luther King Jr. would be like, we've got to give a peaceful protest and blah 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 and march in the streets or whatever, and then they would put the mic over to Malcolm X and say, "Hey, do you believe this?" And he would go, "No."
No, I don't believe in this
Not at all.
And they
Right.
marching beside each other. I
And they're
remember
marching
seeing that.
beside each
They're
other.
marching beside
Right. And
each
he's just
other.
like, no.
And he's like, no,
This
I
is
don't
not
believe in
the
what
way
he's
to get it
doing.
done.
But we are marching together, though.
Yeah.
We're marching together. We are on agendas, but we're marching together because
Right.
we are together. And once they start coming in the middle of the compromise, bro,
Right.
they both die. But we're going to talk about civil rights on the next episode.
There we go. One of the crazy things to think about with this whole Tulsa event, Greenwood being destroyed, right?
Yeah.
Because some black dude stepped on a white lady's foot.
Supposedly.
Supposedly.
It's
Yeah.
like Emmett Till.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the Emmett Till
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
They lost 2,500 buildings. That's about $26 million in today's standard, right?
Jesus.
But the crazy thing is they didn't leave. They tried very hard to rebuild what they had built. That to
Resiliency, man.
Yeah.
exactly. That really shows me the resiliency of the human condition.
The strength
Yeah.
of black people in general is like unprecedented to any other race.
Unprecedented.
Like,
Yeah.
honestly. And Jewish people, I hear you. We love you.
Sure,
We rock
yeah,
with you too.
yeah.
But the shit that we had to go through, I mean, even in Africa before transatlantic slavery, up until today, we're still fighting and battling with this shit, bro. Yeah. There's a genetic trauma gene in our DNA, bro, that we're fucking like, we're already on the brink of psychotic break. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, anyway.
So that's going to lead us up to the Red Summer.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So World War I veterans, like those in Tulsa, that also returned to Charleston, were instead of being welcomed, they incited fear.
Yeah.
Like for some reason, in white people.
They were supposed to be heroes.
Yeah,
you know
they're
what
supposed
I
to
mean?
be heroes, and they came back, and they're like these scary monsters coming back that just fought for your fucking country and actually were the ones who changed the tides.
Right.
You know?
Well, and they thought that this was going to get them accepted.
Yeah,
You
sure.
know, and it's still a thing to this day where you go and fight these wars for this country, and you come back and you still have your George Floyds, your Michael Browns,
Yeah.
your Arbery's. You know what I'm saying?
So,
like, fuck.
yeah.
Anyway,
all this became the Red Summer, the period from late winter until the autumn of 1919. So, white supremacists, terrorism, and racial riots took place in more than 36 cities across the United States.
that's
36.
Yeah,
That's
So
crazy.
That is-
I outlined Greenwood in Tulsa.
Yeah.
and this shit is happening in more than 36 cities around the same time. you know?
Well, I mean, and it's also kind of like I hit on this in the first or second episode when I said, Minneapolis and New York were being covered by the protests and everything, but that shit was going on everywhere,
Everywhere around
and
the
nobody
country,
was putting that out there.
everywhere around the
It was
country,
going like I said. Grant and I were there for that
first march.
that
The
march
first march from
that
Nashville.
was. They said 20,000. That could not even have touched. It was way
Nashville.
more than that in Nashville because we were down on like I don't know church or whatever and could see people 4 or 5 blocks away
funneling
that were still coming around that we had been an hour ago in that same spot, and there were still hordes of people. So you've got to. I mean,
It was amazing.
It was a real vibe.
it was amazing. It
a
was
real vibe, man.
amazing.
I was down there for the 4th of July march, and it's the best decision I ever made in my life.
And there was still a shit ton of people there.
There's a shit ton of people there. But
That's awesome.
At the same time,
the
it's
4th
it's
of
4th of
July.
July. It's Independence Day.
Yeah.
This is the most Independence Day shit I can do. If you want me to celebrate
Right.
this country, let me fight for my fucking rights.
But the
then.
fact that many
what I mean?
people, instead of like barbecuing and drinking beer and shooting off fireworks,
Which I should have been there.
Flicking off
West
and
Doing.
shouting at state troopers was my favorite part.
oh, I loved that moment.
My favorite. I'll throw this last little
What
bit.
up, bitch? Hey, bro, I was on one. I was lit.
My favorite.
And sober.
I'll throw this last little bit of the protest stuff in there. My favorite chant that I saw or that I was a part of was we turned down onto Broadway, and at the bottom of Broadway was a SWAT team.
Fuck yeah.
And
Fuck yeah.
these people started running at the SWAT team. They stopped when they got to them, but started running like the emotions just heightened.
Of course,
And
bro. It
the
takes that
chant
one
was,
match.
"Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like."
My
And
favorite from that was I don't see a riot here. Why
Why
are you wearing riot
riot gear?
gear?
yeah,
I love that shit.
yeah,
On
Yeah.
Broadway, we all
Right.
dropped silent, got on our knees, and just put our hands in the
I
air.
remember that.
Fucking Broadway.
Yeah, I remember that, bro.
Broad daylight.
Like,
Yeah.
That's the one that I wish I was at. But I told y'all on that first episode of this podcast,
You would've got
if
in
I
some
was
wild
down
shit.
there. I would have, boy. Because once they started
Yeah.
busting that courtroom, that courthouse fucking window in. Anyway, I mean,
Well,
I'd
back-
have been in some wild shit.
Back to
Go.
the point at hand. In most instances, attacks consisted of, obviously white on black violence.
Yeah.
However, numerous African Americans also fought back, notably in Chicago and Washington. D.C. race riots, which resulted in 38 and 15 deaths, respectively. That's another one of those jump around numbers.
Yeah. It's weird.
Along with more injuries, obviously. Extensive property damage in Chicago. Still the highest number. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
The highest number of fatalities occurred in the rural area of Elaine, Arkansas, where an estimated 100, again, fucking douchebag numbers, 100 to 240 black people and 5 white people were killed. An event now known as the Elaine Massacre.
So let's take a quick look at that motherfucking
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
On one hand, you got 100, maybe 240,
Probably 350.
probably more
Probably 1,000.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. You never know.
black Americans
Jesus. And-
versus 5 white Americans.
Yeah.
You notice there's no range of numbers on the amount
the whites?
of white people
Oh, yeah.
killed.
Just
Yeah,
5.
right?
There's 5.
They're pretty certain it's 5.
It's 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
Then you have 100 to 240.
Yeah.
40 is an even number, but that's not a number that you would just naturally come
But
to.
but historically, it's expendable. Apparently,
Exactly.
that's what it is. That's what it
It's
delves
like,
down to. It's like, it's
Like, I mean, how
100
many
to
black people
400
live in this
billion?
area? Let's just say half of that.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
they just do shit like that.
I mean, it's
Like,
always-
So there's how many black homes in this? Okay, so a quarter of that. Let's
Mm-hmm.
just put that document down. Let's not go count the bodies. Let's not go see the evidence. Let's not go see the people hanging from trees.
Right.
Let's just estimate it.
But they say that history's written by
The victor.
the victor.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Bro, if there was a black hand on history books back then, it'd be a whole different type of history. I tell you.
If
that.
there was black hands on any of the history in the world, it would be completely
Yeah,
different.
it's still to this day fucked up on that in that front. But
Yeah.
anyway.
So yeah, after the Elaine massacre, Marcus Garvey, taking the words of Booker T. Washington, believed in a unification of all black Americans. He developed the Universal Negro Improvement Association, which was the largest black movement in American history. They wanted to get the ships to sail back to Africa, essentially, and establish a new community away from white racist, which is, weird to think about. Why would you? Well, of course you would want to do that. And
Again, separate but equal. Okay, well, that's what you want. Cool. We're just gonna dip then. Like
We'll be separate.
Cool. Yeah, we'll be separate. Y'all good.
We'll be very separate.
We'll be hella
Very
separate.
separate.
We'll
Yeah.
be across the fucking Atlantic. It's cool. Don't worry about us. We Gucci. You
well,
know
and
what I
because he did this, the FBI accused him of fraud, and he was convicted.
Because they didn't want you to leave in the first place.
Yep. Nah, you're making too much money for our country.
For me.
So yeah.
You're creating an economy just from your existence.
Right. And
Yeah, and the only way that he was released through the FBI is if he went back to Jamaica.
right.
Because his voice was too loud.
Yeah. He was from Jamaica, but he was trying to unify all black Americans at the time. And anybody that wanted to jump on the ship and go create a new situation, they shut that shit down.
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah.
And we're like, I'll let you out of jail
They deported him.
unless if you go to Jamaica.
So you can't get an Americans to rock with you no more.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then we skip to the Great
Crazy.
Depression, which exponentiated the inequality of separate but equal, which was separate but unequal.
Unequal, exactly.
Yeah, right. Because black Americans saw twice the unemployment rate as white Americans.
Oh, yeah, bro. It was
Very
way
easily.
worse on the other side.
Same to today. You know?
Well, also, when you hear about the Great Depression in school, all you hear about is the white side of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think about that now.
The Dust
Think-
Bowl.
think
white
about
Dust Bowl, yeah.
farmers trying to
Old
do their
about
shit.
that.
Oklahoma
as best as
people
they can.
can't have their crops
Get that
anymore.
old visual of the Great Depression thoughts in your school time.
You
ever
have
see
white
black
people
in them
standing
pictures?
in bread lines.
Yeah,
Yeah.
white people looking rough.
Been doing that for
Like, bro, years, bro, years. Anyway,
centuries.
the black side of Great Depression was way rough.
Way worse.
A lot
Well,
of
yeah,
diseases,
and schools were an excellent example of this. You got wooden shacks versus two-story brick buildings. Mm-hmm. You know, wooden shacks for the
They're
blacks.
old slave
two-story brick
quarters
buildings.
is where they would have like
Oh, for
17 kids
sure.
pile in there.
For sure,
try to
and
learn
they
something.
got the books that were in the black schools were just hand-me-downs from what the whites were just done with.
the bindings fucked up.
Yeah.
Fucking, it's
Yeah.
torn.
Well, I mean, and like
missing
even
chapters and shit.
like I mean, it's I don't know. I'll do the, like I said in the last episode. When I do that, I'm just fucking pissed off at all this shit
it's a lot.
and
It's
don't
a
know
lot.
what to fucking say.
It's a lot to hold in, man.
But yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. But into the next session here, lawyer Charles Hamilton Houston, he waged a legal war on Plessy versus Ferguson with a video documentation of these inequalities. He took this one and won case by case.
Yeah. He basically like took video documents of this slave shack with people in it to learn
Yeah.
this 2-story brick building.
To prove
learn
that this
this shit is not equal, bro.
Separate.
Yeah.
To prove that it is separate, but it is not equal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he
It
went
is
by
unequal.
state until he hit the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And he got there. And once justice literally turned his back on him, turned its back on him.
Bro, a Supreme Court justice just in court,
Yeah.
just like, I don't even want to see your face. Turn your back.
Yeah.
Kind of,
Because he was a black man.
adolescent shit is that, bro?
Right.
What kind of fucking, anyway.
I mean, all he wanted was...
They called themselves
you know,
men, bro.
Yeah, right. All he wanted was everybody to be treated equal, but he died before achieving this goal. Like, just straight up. Like, I mean...
But that right there sparked,
oh, yeah, big time.
it sparked it all. That was the last match. Like,
Yep. Right. In 1954, segregation of state-sponsored public schools was declared. Segregation of state-sponsored public schools was declared unconstitutional by the U.S. Supreme Court under Chief Justice Earl Warren in the landmark case Brown versus the Board of Education. And if you don't know what that is, you need to listen in school because that is it's fucking taught.
That is something
know,
that is
that
actually
is something
in
that's-
school.
at least they
taught.
teach you that.
In some states, it took many years to implement this decision, while the Warren Court continued to rule against the Jim Crow laws in other cases. Generally, the remaining Jim Crow laws were overruled by the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
And we're going to slide up into that in the next episode.
Yes, we
Give
are.
y'all the hot facts on that. But real quick, because I know we're running tight on time. Huh? We're getting close. Anyway,
We're way over, but who cares? This is important shit.
it's fine. You're still listening. It's cool. We love you. I'm going to hit real quick on a little group of white women entitled The United Daughters of the Confederacy. If you don't know about this group, they're basically responsible for every statue that we hate right now, or that you should hate right now. All of the rhetoric of this is my heritage. No, the South didn't fight for slaves; they fought for states' rights. All that shit, they're responsible for it.
Yes, they
the
are.
United Daughters of the Confederacy. It actually started in Nashville, Tennessee.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
Straight up.
Started in
They really
Nashville,
did.
Tennessee, bro. Probably right downtown where we'd be out there chilling
Yep.
and getting down.
Yeah.
These women
Or
started
where we protested.
and where we protested at. Look at that shit.
And where I
See?
work.
Yeah. And where that shitty ass statue is by the river. Anyway, these women started an organization. I mean, they started off with pure intention because they wanted to just find their husbands and find family members and like give them an honorable burial as a soldier of the Confederate Army. But what they started doing with that was building monuments in order to memorialize these troops. And these statues are still to this day frowned upon, like I said, and by some glorified. They use these statues in memory of Confederate soldiers to teach Southerners about the good fight that they
Quotes.
fought about, quote, good fight, unquote, that they fought to preserve states' rights and true Southern Christian values. So they basically use these monuments, these statues, and these dead bodies to be like, see, they fought the good fight. They fought for states' rights. They did this for the Christian values because we're Southern and we're Christian, and they fought the good fight, basically. And they helped create the lost cause narrative. And the key points of this movement of the lost cause were basically saying like slavery was not bad, enslaved people were happy, you know, the Confederacy fought the good fight against overwhelming artillery of the North, rather than the fact of they fought for slavery, they were wrong, they were treasonous, and they should have all died. You know what I mean? Like point blank, period. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
I mean-
it's So the lost cause claim was the leading factor for the South to rewrite history. I mean, we're still dealing with this effect to this day. Nearly half of Americans believe the Civil War was fought not about slavery, but about states' rights.
Right.
And they'll argue that to their fucking death, too.
Yeah, like,
Absolutely. Yeah. They
it's-
will.
it's
They
ridiculous,
say that
bro.
ignorance is bliss, but honestly, ignorance is killing our country. It's not bliss, it's fucked.
Bars.
Define bliss. What is bliss?
Fucking our country, apparently.
Bliss is your
Bliss.
comfort zone in your brain.
I
when you
have
feel
no
like
idea what
everything
bliss is.
cool.
I've never experienced it.
I know a dope ass chick named Bliss. Shouts out to Bliss. What up? Anyway, the UDC, United Daughters of the Confederacy, their membership grew to over 100,000 members, bro. This is 30 years after the Civil War.
Jesus.
And a few years before World War I. And this boom happened because a lot of the Confederate soldiers, the, quote, boys in gray, unquote, they start dying off. Like there's only a few left that actually fought in the Civil War. So they use this to idolize these old fucks and
To like remember their heritage.
Their heritage. This
all
is
that
like,
bullshit.
see, this is
Yeah.
your heritage. This is your family line. We fought the good fight and all the shit that they did, man. And they did this by having after-school programs for white Southern kids. And these programs would teach a whole new generation about how the South was good and fought the good fight. I promise you, like, I got to keep saying it because that's what they said. And that's what's been drilled into their fucking heads.
Right.
And the Southern state pride is what they fought for, making them learn certain songs and recite sayings that ingrain these beliefs in their minds for decades. And these same children that attended these after-school programs that the UDC had are the same people that oppress the people in the South for years, even unto this day.
Right.
Like they were the main people pressing against civil rights. The kids that were in these classes, bro.
Right.
Like so, it's a generational thing. You know what I mean? Like it's. I hate these bitches. And forgive
Me
my French.
too.
I hate it. And like Drew looked up the website, And apparently, there's a damn black lady in the fucking Daughters
Yeah,
of the
I
Confederacy.
looked it up yesterday. There's a fucking black lady you got all these you got like 12 to 15
Karens.
of these Karens standing in a row. There's a couple Beckys in there too. So you got a couple Beckys. You got a Karen and a couple Beckys. And then you have this
black lady.
one black lady.
Okay, well, let me question. How much milk is in that cup of coffee? How light is this?
Right.
This lady?
That is a good question.
They may have dosed her.
I mean, no, her skin.
No,
Yeah,
her
it's
skin
how
was-
much- color.
Oh, actually, she's
Straight black.
no, she's pretty light skinned.
Mulatto.
So she's got a lot of
She's very
got a
very
lot of
light skinned.
creamer in that.
But that honestly, yeah. Well, I'll say heavy cream.
Heavy cream.
She had the heavy cream in there. Maybe a little buttermilk.
Oh, okay. I see where you're going with this visual.
Sure.
But yeah, that disturbed me a lot.
Yeah.
That there is a woman of color in the United Daughters of the Confederacy, which is still around. It's still a fucking thing, mind you.
Very
guys.
much still a thing.
It's still a thing, and they still have these same values. But after World War I, the membership died down, and they received less attention publicly. But that didn't stop their influence.
Nope. So,
The dreadful Mildred Rutherford. She wrote guidelines for Southern textbooks in a pamphlet called The Measuring Rod. And it was written basically to bar any subjects in history books that made the South look bad. Taking out the fact the Civil War was about slavery, replacing that with states' rights. Taking out the fact that the South was wrong and treasonous, and saying the South had better Christian values and were just outnumbered and overwhelmed.
Jesus Christ. And that's very much a thing. What was that? What's that textbook company?
Holden, maybe.
Something like that. We've all seen a textbook written by this company.
Yeah.
They started that fucking company.
Get out.
No,
Who?
Oh.
The Daughters of
yes.
Yeah.
the Confederacy
Oh, bro.
started
Oh,
this
trust-
publishing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting
It's
right into
publishing
that,
company.
bro. Let me get up in there one time.
Go ahead.
Get in there.
Let me get up in there, slide up in it. So this pamphlet was enforced by a committee of old Confederate generals, and they forced libraries to face any other literature in the South that stated the facts about the Civil War and slavery. And what they would do, they would stamp "unjust to the South" on the front of the book, so Southerners would not read it. Yeah, bro. But the biggest influence, which I was just talking about, the biggest influence of this pamphlet was a textbook titled "The History of Georgia." And it was written by E. Merton Coulter. I don't know the company name, but I'm sure this is the textbook y'all are talking about. Or the brand of that textbook you're talking about.
Yeah.
A Southern historian, E. Merton Coulter was, which basically is a racist.
Yeah.
This textbook that basically praised the Confederacy and glorified racism and erased the truth of slavery was in school circulation in Georgia until the late 70s, bro. It's published in the 50s, early 50s, late 40s, and literally pushed the idea of this is my heritage. The South was right. We can do no wrong. Slavery was fine. They were chilling. They were barbecuing every day and like
They were
frolicking
happy.
in fields.
Yeah.
Bro, they were kicking it with massa. That's literally, bro. Like verbatim, there's a line out of one of these textbooks that said they would have cookouts and frolic in fields with their owners.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, bro.
Yep.
To the late 70s, bro.
So that means our parents.
Yeah, straight up.
If you are listening to this and you are from the state of Georgia, your parents probably read this bullshit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
Think
so you
about
wonder why the people that you went to school with are racist. That
Exactly.
you went to school with
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the mid 2000s.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. It's
Y'all
bro,
listen to 50 Cent, but this motherfucker's racist.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
Right.
It's fucking ridiculous. bro.
This is why.
As well. But also, out of this influence, they formed the Children of the Confederacy, which further pushed the rhetoric upon the youth and future generations. They would encourage these kids, like I said, to recite and call and response of the quote truths from the book called A Confederate Catechism. The children would compete and be rewarded for remembering the content of the book, and this would create a viable base for racists to claim, quote, Southern heritage as a proper defense until this day.
Right.
Well, number one, I'll say I'm a huge horror movie buff, and when you throw kids into it, I get more freaked out. So they did this on a realistic measure, not on a movie picture.
The United Daughters of the Confederacy was one of the worst organizations to ever be created. And they literally not only affected the textbooks and the knowledge that was gained in the South, they barred the true knowledge from even being here in the South for years, bro. And then when they thought that was losing some steam, they just took the kids and like forced them to fucking learn this. Like pretty much encouraged them to learn all this shit. Right. Verbatim.
To claim Southern heritage as a proper defense to this day.
Yeah.
Right.
I worked at a place.
Yeah.
There you go.
In a place.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
And me and this coworker who was from Tennessee, real nice guy, but he just grew up in the South.
Yeah.
And we had this conversation during a shift, actually during numerous shifts, over this whole heritage and what the flag really meant. And that conversation probably lasted, I don't know, over the span of 2-3 weeks before we finally agreed to disagree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but two things that really stick out to me about what I'm saying is, first, he had the luxury of saying his opinion out loud.
Yeah.
And that was okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We could walk down the plumbing PVC aisle and he could say his opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
And that would be okay.
boom.
But if I said my opinion, I had to talk a little bit lower like this.
Oh, because you're angry black man at that point. You're not about Southern pride.
Exactly.
You're
Disregard
getting
what I'm
ostracized.
saying.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just louder than him.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But even what I was saying was not accepted at this place that I was at.
exactly.
A few years later, I get a message from this guy, said, "I'm sorry, I was wrong."
Hey, cheers to him, bro.
Good
Yeah,
for him.
right?
Yeah. And I wish
There's still space to grow, bro. That's why when
Absolutely.
anybody like I know this cat from Georgia, bro. We always butt heads and shit like that, and like we're still homies. You feel me? Like because for me, I want to understand your point of view,
Right.
See my point of view. As long as you can do that, and he does that. It's like cool. As long as you see that, so we're gonna stop talking about this shit.
Right.
Let's watch sports. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's watch the game, player. You know what I mean? Let's go and one day you'll learn.
Yeah.
And I've already accepted your ignorant view. I know that.
Right.
So keep rocking.
Right.
Like
Right.
Keep rocking.
And what I didn't want to do most of all, no matter if he agreed with me or not, was treat him any differently.
exactly.
To show him that,
Well,
it's just a backhanded compliment, I
Yeah.
guess. Or
Well, then it's kind of like we're in that position, bro. Like to when we're talking to somebody that, if we get so aggravated to where it's like, what the fuck? Shut the. If we get there, it's like, see.
that's what I.
You feel what I'm saying?
I got
That's
there
literally
multiple
literally,
times,
bro. And it's like that shit, and it infuriates me, bro. Like it's like, why can't you just listen to logic? This is real. I go through this shit every day.
Yes.
I see it in people's faces when I go to the store. I see it when I get out of my car. Like you know what I mean? Like this
Because
shit
that's
is real.
not the logic they were taught.
Well, it's the truth that they have been not given.
Right.
They don't see the truth because they've
Right.
not been
I
taught the truth
understand.
because of
Yeah.
these fucking Daughters of the Confederacy, actually.
And-
And they built all the statues, by the way. They granted all the statues to all these states and put it up so you can see it every day, so you can get reminded.
Yeah, this shit wasn't
This
put
shit's
up
fucked
like
up.
after the Civil War. This shit was put up by the Daughters of Confederacy
in
to
like
just shove that shit in your fucking
1915, like
face.
before World War One. They put up all these statues so you can see it every day.
Yep.
So you can see it every day.
Modern oppression.
Yeah, bro. It's fucking crazy. Like what they did systematically to Southern whites it should infuriate them. It should make them piss the fuck off that this happened to their culture and they can't even accept the truth of their own fuck up. So it makes my truth their fuck up. You know what I mean? Like you feel me? Like it's this backwards ass fucking anyway.
And another thing
Talking in circles.
to think about or remember is that you have people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, you know, that's what they were taught as children.
These are facts to them. You can't teach them nothing else. These
Exactly.
are facts, bro.
Yes. Something that you're taught as a child is very deeply ingrained in you as a person, right? So if anyone,
most mindful
as an
when you're
adult, as an older adult, you know, like past their 40s, they're just gonna shut that off. Like like you bring something to them that they were taught as a child, say that was wrong when you were 6 to 18. That was all wrong. There's a lot of people that cannot accept that. You know,
But that isn't an excuse.
it's not. I
You know.
totally agree with you.
You
It's not an excuse, but it is
adapt,
something
bro.
to be able to try and understand and cope with that or whatever. Just exactly like your coworker. You know what I mean? And the fact that he came back and said, "I was wrong. I'm sorry."
Right.
That's fucking amazing.
That's respect right
because you rarely get that.
Right. I was shocked.
You know?
I don't even think I responded to that.
It's just like, word, bro. I know your journey. I respect you from a distance.
Yeah.
You got it, bro. Now you can keep going. Well, man, like, Kev, thank you for coming out, man.
I appreciate
and
y'all having me.
Yes, man.
You
Thank
know
you so
what
much
I'm
for being
saying?
here.
This was
For real.
fun.
Like, you know, thank you for being part of the process and making it lighter on us to talk about this shit. It's deep, man. And for listeners out there, we love y'all. Sorry that we gave you that heavy today. But, you know, these facts got to be heard. You know what I'm saying? It's edutainment business. You know what I'm saying? We out here doing it. Doing it for y'all because we love y'all. I want y'all to be informed and these facts. Again, photos by Wurm. Check the homie out. He's a killer with the camera, man. And
I think he's about to take our photo.
maybe. Who knows?
If we ask him nicely, I think he will.
Something. A little something.
Sure.
You're going to see some tracksuit shorties.
Big facts. Well, I'm Justin Hammonds, and I'm saying love, live life because it's worth living, y'all.
And I'm Drew Shellnut, and I'm saying be kind. Fucking actually be kind. Like, people give a shit. People reciprocate to those things. But be kind. Stay informed and make a fucking difference.
Grant Bramlett here. I never liked you.
These are true facts.
And honestly, I haven't ever fucking liked you if you behave the way that people have behaved in the past and continue to behave that way. But I always have loved you. I sincerely have loved every person that's ever been on this planet. But please fucking try and understand how to love each other. Please.
And I'm Kevin Wurm, and it's hard to follow up that. So be great.
Big facts, my guy. Hey, photos by Wurm. Check my boy out. Friends, Facts, and Fiction podcast. We out.
Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for the next episode. Find us on Facebook and Instagram to stay up to date on everything Friends, Facts, and Fiction. Our Instagram handle is friends_facts_fiction. As always, please reach out to us. You can send any of your questions, praise, and fact-checking to friends_facts_fiction@gmail.com. It's important to us to only propagate the truth, and we will correct any errors we may have made. This has been a production of Friends, Facts, and Fiction.